O Show. This is the Big 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 O Show.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing a personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
The viewpoint, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
Hey, good morning, boys and girls. Yes, sir. Time to have some fun, as we do every single day here on the show. Appreciate all of you already locked in on the YouTube page as we get to have a little fun here for hopefully a couple of hours. Got a couple guests for you here today. Obviously, Manny Navarro is going to join us because he joins us every Tuesday and every Friday exclusively right here on the Big O Radio Show. And he'll join us at 12:30 with our Canes Wear Miami Hurricanes report. We're going to also have Aaron Wilson, NFL Insider. He's going to join us around noon. So that second hour, we'll have a couple of interviews for you, talk a little NFL, go over some of the storylines as we get ready for the NFL season, which I can't wait for the NFL season. I can't wait for Dolphin season. I mean, I am so freaking pumped about Dolphin season. It's not even funny, man. I haven't been this pumped in a long, long time. And I love how everything's kind of falling into place also on the show, and all of you out there. I got to thank you all out there so much because you've done an incredible job of reconnecting with the show. Our downloads, this was our best Monday yet so far. Yesterday, the downloads were absolutely amazing, and we haven't even started football season yet. Basketball season's already over. I mean, yeah, I know we've got the finals, but I mean, locally for us, you know what I mean? And then you've got, Inter, and you've got, the Marlins playing right now. Now there's not a lot of action, and yet downloads were absolutely amazing yesterday. And they've been amazing every single day. And we, this past weekend was our best weekend of downloads. So, since we restarted, we haven't beat our old records, which are just earth-shattering, those kind of records. But we'll get to it again. We'll get to that point where we're absolutely loaded up. So I appreciate all of you out there. As always, remember to smash the hell out of that like button, whether you're podcasting the show at any time during the day or night. If you're watching on YouTube right now, subscribe, hit the like button. All these things are incredibly important, as always, to support the show. Appreciate all of you out there, as always. what else do we have that I wanted to mention? Well, no, I can't mention that yet because it hasn't officially happened yet. But hopefully, we'll have some news for you on Thursday. Actually, here on the show, another feature that we're adding to the program, which looking forward to that. And it's an interesting time. And we talked a little bit. It's funny how yesterday I was talking about this yesterday, and it ends up happening like right away, which is crazy. And yesterday we had a segment where we were talking about the future coverage of teams like the Marlins and the Panthers and Inter Miami. And I told you how they've got to be on their P's and Q's because they've already lost beat writers. I mean, the major sports, there's only a Dolphin beat writer on the Palm Beach Post. There isn't a Heat beat writer. There isn't a Panthers beat writer. There isn't a Marlins beat writer. There isn't an Inter Miami beat writer. You know what I'm saying? So the Palm Beach Post has already like eliminated all their beat writers except for the Dolphins, and they've got a really good one in Joe Shad. And then the Sun Sentinel, same thing. The Sun Sentinel only has a couple of the beat writers, right? And one of them that they had was Inter Miami and Kobe Price. Did you guys see what was the announcement yesterday? Actually, hours after our show, like 6 hours after our show, we were off. It was announced that David Furones is now being elevated from the Canes beat to the Dolphins beat for the South Florida Sun Sentinel. So that means Safadine must be stepping away from there, obviously. And so and then they elevated Kobe Price, who was what? The Inter Miami beat guy. And now he's going to go and cover the Canes. And Kobe's been covering FAU for a few years now, so he has experience covering college teams. And he's been he's been at the locker room, and he's been at Dolphins and Canes. He's done all the other ones, but now it becomes his beat. And guess what? Do you think they're replacing the Inter Miami writer? No. Well, yesterday, this was the segment. Look, the Marlins and Inter Miami are in a really difficult position. Let me explain something to you all out there. Marlins, okay? Listen to me, and Inter. If they don't turn things around in the next couple of weeks here, I wouldn't be surprised if newspapers start pulling out their beat reporters. And you'll have one less beat reporter or two. I don't even know. I don't even think you have three on the Inter one. You only have one in Dade with not Dade with the Herald in Michelle, and then you've got one in the Sun Sentinel, right, with Kobe, and then you've got Franco Panizo who's going to join us at noon. That's it. That's their beat people. Now, Franco won't go off the beat, but maybe one of those other two, they take him off the beat and they put him on something else like football that's more important. That's going to get more views. So it's really important for the Marlins. I don't think they'll take Jordan McPherson out. But if David Wilson or any of the other guys that or ladies that go to the Marlins, they might pull them now and they might put them on another beat. So that's where you have to be very careful when you're the Panthers, which they've already lost beat writers. They don't have one from the Palm Beach Post. Palm Beach Post doesn't have anything except football. That's it. They don't even have a beat writer for basketball anymore. That's how bad it is. So those kind of clubs like Inter, like the Marlins and the Panthers, they've got to pick it up and be consistent so they can get some of that attention. Because if not, you know what's going to happen. It's the Dolphins. It's the Heat. It's the Canes. They're going to get all the attention, and deservedly so. And with the limited reporters that they have, I just wouldn't be surprised if things like that happen, where you end up losing out. It didn't take hours. It just took hours for that prediction to happen. So now Inter Miami has two beat writers now. Now they've got Michelle with the Herald and Franco Panizo. That's it. Sentinel might send like a backup or something like that. So now if you're Inter Miami, you have lost an extra beat writer to like cover your team on a daily basis. It's important, man. It's important to have somebody covering and telling your story and telling the players' stories and things like that. So first of all, I got to say congratulations to David Furones. going over to the Dolphins beat, and congratulations to Kobe Price getting the Canes beat. Both guys are getting better beats, obviously, beats that are going to be read a lot more, beats that are obviously cared about way more than baseball or inter or hockey in this town right now. And so kudos to them that they end up getting those beats. But again, what did I tell you? They're limited. So you can only send people to certain places. And Inter has become a subject that is not necessarily sexy. You know, as much as I love it and I care about local soccer, and I always have, whether it's the Fusion or the Strikers or Miami FC or Inter Miami, I want all soccer teams locally to succeed. I'm a big time supporter, but I'm also a realist. And look at that. I was just telling you that yesterday, and I saw this morning that they made the changes, and I was like, wow, this is crazy stuff. I didn't even notice when they announced it last night, actually. I saw it this morning for the first time. So that's just absolutely nuts there. But this is what I was talking about. And when you're those kind of teams, the Marlins and Panthers and Inter, you've got to be exceptional so you can get the coverage, because those days where newspapers had a plethora of writers and all kinds of backups, those days are done, man. Their resources are very few. I mean, the Palm Beach Post has very little to no resources. And then the Herald and the Sentinel have a little more, but nothing to what they used to be. It's crazy how the paper is nothing like it used to be. Man, that is it's a real shame. It really is. What do we have going on here? Let's do a little roll call here and see who's on the board here. Let's see who was first up today. NorCal was first, chiming in at 10:30. Steve Chapman is in. GP Trap, obviously reminding everybody to smash that like button. So is NorCal. Omar Lopez, Ian from Brooklyn, Gus 1388, Raging Dolphin Maniac, JG Long is coming in. John Rouse is in the house. Let's see. Rages says, I haven't been this excited about the Finns since they drafted Marino. Man, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. It's just it's awesome. I'm like a caged animal about Dolphin season. Daniel Marquez is in. Randy Gonzalez. Christianer Jean Lewis said, what's the new podcast? I don't know. What's the new podcast? What are we talking about? What do you talk about, Christianer? What's the new podcast? Is this new to you? Because it's not a new podcast. We just kind of restarted it, but yeah, it's definitely not new. King Short is in. Let's see. Daniel Marquez says Big O Shams reporting Atlanta is not bringing back John Collins. Heat top of the list. That would be nice, man. The West Palm Beach kid, but I don't know how they could. Well, they probably could sign him straight up, right? Because if they cut enough guys, they'll have the money. So is he a free agent or is he a restricted free agent? That's the part I don't know. I am not sure. I would have to check it for you there, because that's the answer you've got to know right now for John Collins, is that if you're going to bring John Collins in, or if you even have a shot at bringing John Collins in, let me see here a second. Here, Shams. I'm pulling up Shams here. Let's see. Sources, the Philadelphia 76ers have opened up trade conversations surrounding three-time All-Star Ben Simmons. Phoenix Suns' Willie Green has emerged. I am not seeing, where's the John Collins story? I don't see the John Collins story, dude. What are you telling me? Why are you telling me something and it's not there? I don't see it on his Twitter. And I'm looking back all the way now. It's already gone to 6 days. You are misleading me, sir, telling me about John Collins. Is he reporting it like on television and not on his, because he doesn't have it here at all on his Twitter feed. You would figure they have it on their Twitter feed the entire time, but I don't see it here on the Twitter feed at all. So I can't tell you anything about that, but John Collins would be nice if you can sign him, The question is he restricted or not? Bleacher Report and Shams is the source. Well, so far, Shams doesn't have it on his Twitter feed. That I can tell you. Let's see here. What I'm gonna find out for you is if John Collins is a free agent. That's Is he an outright free agent? Is he a limited free agent? That is the entire key to all of this. Because if he's an outright free agent, Miami will have the money. I think they can cut enough people and free up enough money to sign John Collins, which would be just an absolute coup if they're able to do that. But if he's a restricted free agent, then I don't think you'll be able to sign him because others will offer better deals than the Heat. The Heat don't have the kind of money that I mean the kind of what's that called picks or um or players that they're going to want in return. That's the problem. So that's why I would tell you that the John Collins situation gets a little hairy here. Here we go. I got his contract now. John Collins has got this was his last year. There it says 2021 and 2022. There's a base of 7 and a hold of 12.4. So he's a restricted free agent. So you can forget about John Collins. Okay. They don't have the ammo, bro. So it's nice, to get him, but I'm not going to be a Heat zombie because I know the team has developed a bunch of Heat zombies in the past. And there's a lot of you out there that you keep thinking you can have anybody and everybody. And if you've noticed, they haven't been able to get anybody for several years now. They don't get really what they end up wanting. They kind of settle for what they have to get. You know what I mean? So it's not like they're going out there and getting the pick of the litter anymore. I don't think they'll be able to get John Collins unless nobody else trades for him. And then Atlanta has to, which I doubt that because the way John Collins plays, I think somebody's going to trade for him. But if he's restricted like it says here, then they've got no shot. So don't build yourself up for something that you're just going to be heartbroken in the end. Let's see, what else do we have here in the chat board? Lisa Rose is in. King Short is in. Ray says, howdy-o, everybody. Football season, get here already. Can't wait. I'm with you. Alfredo Garcia says, buenos dias, people. Fred Soros, Michigan, is in the house. Richard Hernandez says, Big O, what are your thoughts about going on in Cuba? Richard, I mean, I'm not going to get too political here. I'll always give my opinions because I don't have a problem giving my opinion. But there was something called the Bay of Pigs, and Kennedy and the boys backed out of it and did not help. Back in the 80s, we had Castro, crapping all over this country and releasing a lot of people in his jails. But there also other people got out. And there was cries for libertad and freedom and all of that, and it fell on deaf ears because the government cannot just go over the Gulf and just go over to Cuba and invade and take over and run their government. As much as I would like that, as much as a lot of Cubans would like that, that's not the reality. There's something called the UN. There's a thing like you just can't open that Pandora's box because then all of a sudden, what are you going to do? Just start raiding any country you can take advantage of? That's not going to happen. So my problem with all of this is I feel like patriotically, we're going to be heartbroken once again, just like the Bay of Pigs, just like in the 80s. And this will be the third strike. And the U.S. won't do anything because they can't do anything. Biden can say whatever he wants. But, you got to respect the calls for freedom and this and that. But their government don't give a shit about the people. So unless the people from within that island can find a way to fight it out themselves, okay, they're the ones that are going to have to. You know what? Remember we had the terrorists that attacked the Capitol, all those Trump losers that are terrorists and should all be jailed. They have to go. They have to do that. That's the only way it happens. Has to happen from within. No government is going to go in there and take control. So the problem is perspective. We've talked about this before many times on the show. As you get older, you have perspective. And this has happened in the past. This happened in the 80s, dude. I was in those cars and in those, caravans and all that in front of Versailles, over by the Freedom Tower, over by the Torch. I was there in the 80s when they wanted to get Cuba freed, and it didn't happen. And it didn't happen in the Bay of Pigs, which is the moment that it really should have happened. That's the moment that it should have happened. It did not happen. And when they backed out then, and then now and in the 80s, they also did nothing whatsoever because they can't. And that's the problem, that we get blinded here, that we don't understand the laws of the world. And you just can't go invade a country. It doesn't happen. Doesn't happen, bro. The UN would lose its freaking mind on that. And so the US is not going to go in there and take over the government. You know what I mean? And that's the track record. And so that's how I feel. That I feel sad because I know what's coming. Nothing at all. So it has to happen inside. If it doesn't happen inside, if it doesn't implode from within, it will not happen. Okay? It's just, look what happened in Haiti. Are we invading Haiti? No, we're not. They killed the damn president. We're not doing anything because it's not our government. We just can't go into any government and just cross in and just start doing whatever the hell we want. Doesn't happen that way. So I'm just saying, it's sad, but I just feel that it's going to end the same way it ended the last two times, at least during my lifetime. Okay. That's what's happened twice, and it'll happen a third time. So there you go. Okay. Pipe Man Slim says, crypto, bro, buy the dip. Yeah. I had, I think it was Marta that asked me right now on Twitter. She asked me, she said, what do I do? The market continues to dip. And I said, patience, buy the dip, take advantage. Okay. And hodl, stay strong. It'll turn. But what you don't do is panic and sell and lose. You don't do that. It's not going to floor out or anything like that. It'll come back. And when it does, because that's what I'm doing every time, I have a little bit I can spare, I'll buy something here, I'll buy something there, I'll stash it, and that's it, and that way at least I know that, and when it bounces back, that's when we'll be in an absolutely beautiful position. Listen, the people that can play with it right now are the people that bought, Bitcoin at 8,000 and 10,000 and 12,000. And if they want to get out now in the 30s, they're still making some money. Now, they could have gotten out in the 50s and the 60s, but they wanted to hold on. But if you're smart, you continue to buy. You continue to. I'm not a financial advisor, but I'm just telling you what I'm going to do. Okay? I'm not going to panic because it's gone down. I'm going to be happy that it's gone down, and I'm going to continue to hodl, and I'm going to continue to buy what I can. Okay? V-Chain is one that I've taken advantage of over the last couple of weeks. It's been in 7 and 8 cents, and maybe it gets to 9 sometimes and all that. And it was at 12 a couple of weeks back, but then it went back down again. And I said, and I got into V-Chain initially at 7 and 8 and 9 cents. So I'm going to continue to buy right there because that's a floor that it's been at. And that's 7, 8, 9 area. So I'll just continue to buy it and then wait till it climbs back up again. That's all. So I'm not going to panic whatsoever. Let's see. Dwayne Hadley is saying, what's up? Thank you, sir. Jay Gelfin is in with a little Taco Tuesday. Let's see. Isais says, I think he's restricted free agent to Atlanta. Could match any offer. Yeah, that's why it's not, Miami's not getting him, because somebody else is going to offer a hell of a lot more than Miami. Plus, they'll try to trade him to the other conference. They don't want to trade him in Miami. I doubt they want him in Miami. In fact, I'm pretty damn sure they're not going to want him in Miami. Let's see. Alfredo says Bagley would be a nice, I think. Randy Gonzalez, Pipe Man Slim for real. Take advantage now. That's right. Matthew Walker's in. JG says, to me, Precious Achua is the next forward impact player like Collins. The Nigerian basketball experience is going to help him grow leaps and bounds. That and Summer League. Yes. Yeah, these are things they didn't have last year. They didn't have all this stuff. And you're right. I mean, Precious needs basketball, dude. Precious has got to play a lot of basketball. That's what he has to do. That's how he's going to get better. When you get older, I don't want you playing extra stuff in the offseason. You know what I'm saying? Once you're established, Jimmy Butler, no, go rest, dude. Goran Dragic, enough, bro. Relax. Your body can't stay in one damn piece. You know what I'm saying? Once you get older, I don't want you playing extra in the offseason. I want you resting. But when you're a Precious Achua, when you're a KZ Okpala, when you're a Gabe Vincent, get your ass out there on the court, bro. You're not playing at all during the regular season. So you need to work on your game. So I am 1,000% with you. All of this will make him better. International competition, summer league, all of that kind of stuff, and one-on-one work with the coaches with the Miami Heat who do a great job normally of developing players. So I am with you 1,000%, JG. Troy Ortiz, we invaded Afghanistan and Iraq. We have to make an execute to invade. Yeah, but that's different. That's terrorists. That's all kinds of other things going on. You're confusing you're mixing apples and oranges. Okay? What's going on in Cuba is completely different than what's gone on in Iraq and Iran and Afghanistan, and where they're hiding, terrorists, where they're feeding terrorists, where they're training terrorists, where they're hurting, the world and our country. It's a whole different ballgame. Cuba's not affecting anybody here. They're not affecting this country. They're not sending terrorists here. It's too, we have to get past our patriotism. You know what I'm saying? Because you're thinking of the Cuban people. You're thinking of your family members who are Cuban. You're thinking because your blood is Cuban. So you think, they should treat it like Afghanistan and Iran. Completely different situations. Completely different situation. Like I said, why aren't they invading Haiti? They're not. Not going to invade Haiti. They're not going to invade every country that has political turmoil. They're not, unless that country is doing something to hurt other countries. You know what I'm saying? And in the Middle East, obviously, there's a lot of that. In Cuba, there isn't any of that. They just hurt their own people. And we have no control over that. So as painful as it is, I'm just giving you reality, man. I'm just telling you what's happened in the past is going to repeat itself. I'm terrified of that. That's just the way it's going to be. Randy Gonzalez says, agree. I've said it 100. In your opinion, do you see coins like Zilliqa, Chili's, Reserve Rights, Crow, IOST, Mana as long-term or just short? No, those are all long-term. Those are all long-term. I would not. Those are all ones that I invested in. I don't invest in short-term coins. I'm not rich, dude. I can't invest in short-term coins. As much as I like RSR, they've gotten some competition now at what they're trying to do. Others are trying to do the same thing. So that'll be interesting. But RSR is so cheap that if it just goes back to its normal number, you can dump it because it's at like 2 cents or something. If it goes back to 8 or 9 cents, you 4 times your money, you can get the hell out after that. But Zilliqa's long-term. Chili's, I think, is going to blow up. Crow is going to be awesome. IOST, I like too. Mana is a monster. Decentraland is going to be, that's a great coin, bro. Antonio is in, says, what's up? Randy says, patience is the key in crypto. People don't get it. Yeah, you got to be incredibly patient in crypto. You cannot get flustered by the major dips and the peaks and the valleys. You cannot. Can't get too crazy when it goes over like a crazy number, and you can't go nuts when it dips. George says Cuba is totally a different story. Very sad for those people. Yeah, it's just, I know it's going to happen, bro. I'm sorry, and it's happened twice, and it's going to happen again. Shout out to our brother Finlaw B K91 overseas, now making the world better. Shout out to him. NorCal, shout out to you. There you go, NorCal. That's NorCal's coin. That's his Dolphins coin. Doesn't get focused. Not enough focus. Come on, focus. It's not clear. But there you go, NorCal. And your buddy, too. I got the coins from your buddy, too. Little CIA. Damn it. This one's weird. That one's even harder to actually see. Let's see. What else do we have here? Antonio Crapisi says, I wouldn't be so confident that we won't invade countries since that's kind of what we tend to do. No, we don't. Not those kind of countries, Anthony. Name one. Name one that we raid like that. We don't raid those kind. We raid the kind of countries that have terrorist activity and could be a threat in war and those kind of things. We don't invade the Haitis and we don't invade the Cubas and we won't invade any of those kind of other countries. But if they're a threat to the United States in some fashion, then we will invade. You know, if they didn't invade Cuba in the 80s when all hell was breaking loose, and then they didn't do it in the 60s, why are they going to do it now? They're not. I mean, listen, I get it. People get into this thing where they just want to convince themselves. And again, the jingoistic thing gets in there. You're Cuban and you can't compartmentalize and you can't, you don't want to believe it. But this is what's going to end up happening, folks. I'm telling you, it's what's going to end up happening. Big O at the cubicle being a corporate stealing weasel, time stealing weasel. Because that's what you got to do. If we're going to do it, Willie, we got to do it Mad Dog style. Corporate time stealing weasel. Okay? All right? So, what is it? Corporate time stealing weasel. So, CTSW. All right? You're a CTSW is what you are, which you are my hero. You get paid to listen to the show. I like it. I like it. I like it. Good stuff there. Man. Anyway, remember you can reach out to us on email at bigoradioshow@yahoo.com, bigoradioshow@yahoo.com. Of course, you can reach out on the YouTube chat board, but the email is great because if you're listening to the podcast at 2 a.m. or on a Saturday or later on this evening, whatever it is, and you agree or disagree with one of my takes or you just want to, compliment the show or critique the show or whatever it is, you can always use the email to reach out to us. I answer your emails, all of that. Twitter, Big O Show is another way to support us. Smashing the hell out of that like button is so freaking important. To hit that like button, folks. Load up that like button. And then the other way, of course, is of Cash App. Cash App is a great way to support the show. So if you can, it's Cash Big O Show. It's Cash Big O Show. Better than Super Chats. The Super Chat, we don't get the whole donation. We lose 30% of it. It goes to YouTube. And YouTube has enough money. They don't need our 30%. So go to Cash App, Cash Big O Show, and send it there and lock it in. And I appreciate all of you. Yesterday, by the way, I'd be remiss if I did not mention, because yesterday we got a late entry to the Cash App, and Mr. Christopher Yu. Mr. Christopher Yu, thank you, sir, because I know you sent it in along with Manuel Malo and Earl yesterday. So it kind of came in like right at the end of the show or right after the show ended. I didn't see it till after. So I want to make sure that I thank you, Christopher Yu, for taking care of us on Cash App. I appreciate you as always. Thank you out there. Anthony says 30% crooks. It's a business, brother. You know what I mean? It's a business, right? So they provide a service, so they're charging for the service, and yeah, 30% is a lot for a service. That's why. And again, the Cash App is all you guys. I mean, I never even would have thought about the Cash App thing. I would have kept doing the Super Chat like normal. What you guys, you're the ones that came up with the Cash App, and it's actually been the right move. There's a part of me that wants to, like, should I just eliminate the super chat? I don't know. Maybe I should do that. But anyway, yeah, King Short goes, yeah, YouTube going broke with a whole bunch of laughing faces. Yeah, definitely. Anthony says, you thought about Venmo? But I mean, what's the difference, right? Cash App, Venmo, it's all the same, right? So I figured I went with Cash App. Yeah. 30% on the street is a bargain. Willie says, compartmentalize. I actually made my ESL students use this word in one of my classes. That's good for you, man. Yeah, that's a nice job by you. Let's see. What else do we have going on? Let me see. Sometimes we tend to blur those lines as a country, but I see what you're saying. Thanks, Big O. Yeah, it's just going to be tough. Grenada was the only country. Yeah, but I think it was a threat to something on the wasn't it like a threat to our embassy or something like that? Or I forgot the reason for the Grenada, but there was something there. It wasn't just for us to go take advantage and just, abuse it. I think there was a little bit more to that story. There was some kind of a threat, I think, to something of ours. So anyway, but thank you all out there as always for reaching out. I don't do a lot of and I apologize. I don't do a lot of the All-Star game. And yesterday I know they had the home run derby and all that stuff, and Otani was, the story, and Pete Alonso won it again. And I saw the highlights. I got to be honest with you, I haven't watched the baseball all-star festivities in, I don't know, it's been a while. It's been a while. I don't even know if maybe I've over the last few years I ran into it for a couple minutes and turned it off right away, but I have no interest in the home run derby or any of that crap anymore. I just don't. I will say this, I do watch the game. It's the only all-star game I watch, and I will watch tonight the all-star game. I don't watch the NBA all-star. I don't watch the NHL all-star. I wouldn't be caught dead watching the Pro Bowl. Okay. Not I don't even dead. Okay. I could be in the coffin. And if my wife puts me in front of the TV in front of the Pro Bowl, I will rise from the dead and haunt her for the rest of her life. Understand that. Okay. I have no interest in all-star games. They are as garbage as it gets. Okay. It doesn't even mean anything. And not that it's supposed to mean anything, but it's not played the way it should be played. And this one is the only one that is actually competitive. And I don't want the World Series home field advantage to be determined. And thank God they took that out. That I have no interest in. But I will say that as a game itself, baseball is the only, I mean, baseball's got everything wrong except the All-Star game. Okay. Everything else is wrong about the sport of baseball. That's why it's just on a perennial, it's a 90-degree angle how that sport is just crashing and burning right before our eyes. You know what I'm saying? So it's just it's one of those things. Now, I will say this. Stephen A was caught in some controversy, which there was no controversy. Stephen A is 1,000% right. So apparently some people got, they're xenophobic and comments about, Otani, and he was talking about international players in general, how it kills the game and how it kills marketing. And I'm going to let you hear it, how he explains it himself. And then I'm going to say, because listen, I'm not one to actually agree with Stephen A much on a lot of things, because I think outside of basketball, I don't really want to listen to him talk about any other sports. You know what I mean? In football, we've caught him a couple times already where he didn't even know who the players were on the field and stuff. Guys were on the wrong teams, and he's talking about it because you can tell he doesn't follow actually the sport like he follows basketball. And it's like having him in the UFC fight. Like, why do I want to hear him? He's not a UFC expert, dude. You got plenty of those kind of guys. Well, why don't you get some of those kind of guys? I mean, Helwani was there. You got rid of him, which a nice job by Helwani taking shots at them. But anyway, let me play this cut for you from Stephen A because he's 100% right.
Even though baseball is an international sport, and I totally get that, it's played in the United States and Canada. That's where Major League Baseball is being played. So when I'm looking at it from this perspective. In the United States of America, when you talk about the sport of Major League Baseball, you talk about its lack of diversity in terms of African-American players. You talk about the influx of foreign players, whether they be from Venezuela, the Dominican Republic, Japan, or anywhere else. If you are a star and you need an interpreter, that might have something to do, not everything, because there's a lot of things that go into it, but that might have something to do with your inability to ingratiate yourself with that young demographic to attract them to the sport. I would remind you, Max, I would remind my brother Jeff, I would remind others that baseball is in trouble. The audience for Major League Baseball, the demographic repeatedly gets older. It's not getting younger. That younger demographic, which is the targets for all of the advertisers and sponsors and everybody else out there, that's the NBA and the NFL. Major League Baseball is struggling miserably. That's why you got a lot of people that have turned against the commissioner, Rob Manfred, because of all the changes that he's tried to incorporate and implement in an effort to save the sport by elevating its level of interest, okay? And it's even alienated some of the players who are traditionalists and want things to remain the same as they always were. We all know that baseball, the sport of baseball, led by its players, are always the last to the party. Always the last to the party. They're so reluctant to change. They're always the last to the party. When I look at Ohtani, he is big time. Babe Ruth, 33 home runs, batting .279, got a 4-on-1 record with a .379 ERA as a pitcher. This brother is special. Make no mistake about it. But the fact that you got a foreign player that doesn't speak English, that needs an interpreter, believe it or not, I think contributes to harming the game to some degree when that's your box office appeal. It needs to be somebody like Bryce Harper, Mike Trout, those guys. And unfortunately, at this moment in time, that's not the case.
There's zero wrong with what he said. And the idiots that are going off and saying that he's xenophobic and these are, he should apologize to the Asian community and, oh, please kiss my ass already. He was talking about Hispanics and Asians and you name it. I've been talking about this with the Panthers. Barkov can speak English, but, he's like a robot. He said, it doesn't sell. And he's a great guy, great talent, but doesn't sell. Part of what, Inter Miami, the Panthers, here we go. When the Panthers had their little run in the 90s, yeah, they won, but they had Beezer and they had guys like Scrudlin and Mellenby and the guys that spoke English. They had personalities. They can communicate. They can joke around. They were personable. So you were able to market your Panthers. The Panthers, as good as they are, they can't put their guys on radio. They can't put them on television because they have no personality because they're Europeans that are learning the language. That's the problem. And it's the same thing for Hispanic players. I can't talk English. I can't help you. You can't market then. Years ago, Tito Trinidad in his peak. I'm doing radio. Yeah, I've been doing radio for a long time. Tito Trinidad in his peak. I picked on him for that. I said, dude, this guy's a moron. I said this decades ago, okay? I said, this guy doesn't learn English. He would make so much more money. But you want to limit yourself. It is what it is. You're hurting your sport. Boxing. Okay? The Fusion. You know why the Fusion had no success early on? They didn't communicate. They didn't sell their team well. Ray Hudson takes over. Anybody got more color than Ray Hudson? A peacock doesn't have more color than Ray Hudson. Okay? A baboon's ass doesn't have more color than Ray Hudson. All right? But then you have the players and Doug Hamilton, and they all could speak English. That would help. You didn't need a Pibe, but you had, other guys, Eric Winaldo, whatever, other guys that just spoke English and were able to sell the team. But you had Ray Hudson selling it. You look at Phil Neville. Phil Neville doesn't have any personality compared to Ray Hudson. Baseball can't sell their sport. I've been talking about this for 20 years now about baseball. Players are lazy. They're not on social media. They're not on commercials. They don't interact on social media. They don't go back and forth. They don't promote it. They don't embrace what they have to do. But in the NFL, they do. In the NBA, they do. In soccer, they do. They communicate. They go back and forth. They take shots at each other. They promote stuff. They actually sell their damn sport. So baseball has a major problem. Because if you have the Hispanic that don't speak English, that's a problem. He can't sell. You got the Asian that can't speak English, can't sell. And if he barely speaks English and he sounds like Barkov, you can't sell it. There's nothing wrong with what Stephen A. said. He's just talking plain common sense. One of baseball's many problems and why they're so far down on the totem pole. That's one of the issues. Your players have a language barrier. And if they have a language barrier, then that's going to be a problem. That's going to be a personality issue. That's going to be a selling issue. That's going to be a sponsor issue. Nothing wrong with what Stephen A. said. Everything he said was completely on target. You don't wish that Ohtani was Ohtani. You wish that Judge was Ohtani. Yeah, not you don't want Stanton to be Ohtani because Stanton has this bottle has more personality than Giancarlo Stanton. This bottle of water right here. This Fiji water right here. See this? You see this, folks? This bottle of Fiji water right there. Look, you see all that? That's more personality than Giancarlo Stanton has in his entire body right there. That's what baseball needs. I mean, Mike Trout is a monster, and he sucks at selling his sport. He's garbage selling his sport. Michael Jordan will do McDonald's commercials, will battle with Bird, will do whatever he has to do. Kobe will sell his, and Mamba and this and that, and Magic Johnson with a $1 billion smile, and Tim Duncan, and everybody's marketable. And Tim Duncan had barely a personality. But they make something out of all these guys in basketball. Somehow or another, they're able to market them. In baseball, they can't figure it out, dude. So yes, Ohtani is part of the problem. While he's part of the solution in adding talent and greatness, on the flip side, he hurts you because he can't be a positive for you in what you need in marketing so you can bring more money in, so you can bring more eyes in, more attention, all of that. Can you imagine if a guy like Ohtani had Ricky Henderson's personality, his swag, his style? I mean, it's part of the game. Stephen A. is 1,000% right. It's a problem not just in baseball, but it happens in other sports. It happens in some towns like ours. Like if you want to sell baseball in this town, you need to be more marketable. A guy like Jazz Chisholm, oh my God. Oh God. Oh man, I want Jazz Chisholm to be a freaking star. Why? Because his personality doesn't fit in the damn stadium. Yeah, that's how you sell baseball. In fact, go back and check out my interview with Jazz Chisholm, okay? It was like 2 years ago. It was Fan Fest. It's there. It's podcasted. Go check it out. He and I talk about marketing and all that. And he agreed with me 100% on how baseball sucks at that. But that's Jazz Chisholm, who has an incredible personality. And so that's the shame for baseball. Ohtani is a generational talent, and yet you can't sell it. Mike Trout, generational talent, and you can't market it because he has no personality. Sucks, but it hurts your sport. And Stephen A., Screaming A is wrong about a lot of things. This isn't one of them that he's wrong about. I can tell you that. Remember to reach out to us on Yahoo. If you got an email, you want to send me an email, you got a question, Big O Radio Show at yahoo.com. By the way, for the guy that brought out Grenada, here's the problem why they raided Grenada. Grenada, by the nation's Marxist regime, orders the Marines to invade and secure the safety. There were nearly 1,000 Americans in Grenada at the time, many of them students at the island's medical school. In a little more than a week, Grenada's government was overthrown. The situation in Grenada had been a concern to American officials since 1979, when the leftist Maurice Bishop seized power and began to develop close relationships with Cuba. In 1983, another Marxist, Bernard Cord, had Bishop assassinated and took control of the government. Protesters clashed with the new government and violence escalated. Citing the danger of the U.S. citizens in Grenada, Reagan ordered nearly 2,000 U.S. troops on the island. See what I mean? Do we have any American threats in Cuba? Zero. They won't do anything. So when somebody tells you Grenada, now you have the education. You can tell, no. When they tell you Iran, Iraq, no. It's not Cuba. Not Cuba. Just tell them like this. Did they invade Haiti? No. They just killed the president, right? Yeah. Okay. They're not invading Cuba. It's over. That's it. But whatever, man. I mean, listen, man, we're in a world that people don't want. When they don't want to hear it, they don't want to hear the truth. They don't want to hear the truth, right? You got several idiots walking around. Oh, the election was fixed. The election was fixed. I mean, and you can't, all the proof is there. It was never fixed. Over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. But you got your people that are going to convince themselves, and they just, so there you go. Nothing will happen. Sadly, nothing will happen because nothing has ever happened in this situation. And there are no threats to the United States. And so they can't do anything. The day there's a threat, dude, in the missile crisis in the 60s, legitimately there could have been a threat there because of the ties with Russians and everything else. And they didn't do it. So in the 80s, of course they weren't going to do it. And they're not going to do it now. They'll just talk. That's it. They'll just talk. They'll say a couple things and nothing will happen. Okay. Big O, love that Kozar Merino Sports Illustrated cover. Yes. Yeah, I had to frame it. Yeah, I got the magazine. I said, I'm framing that bitch. I got over here. There's also a there's a couple of ones that I have over here. I don't even know if I can show it to you. Let me see. I don't like moving. No, you know what? I don't like moving the camera in the middle of the damn show and all that. I'll take pictures of it and then post it on Twitter at Big O Show, so you guys can see some of the other frames that we have inside the studio here. Let's see. George says, thanks for the heads up on Grenada. We certainly had the right guy in office. Oh, Reagan's my favorite president out of all of them. Out of all the guys I voted for, Reagan was my favorite. And I voted for him. I wasn't old enough for the first go around. I actually voted for him the second time, where things went a little awry on him because, the mind started going and all that. But Reagan didn't take a lot of crap. Yep. I think more people use Venmo is what Lisa says. So then you guys are telling me I should use both then. Oh, it's more work. Okay. All right. I guess you guys are convincing me. I guess I gotta use Venmo also then. All right, maybe I'll open a Venmo account now. All right. And Herman says, so true about baseball, Big O. I mean, it's sad, but it's the truth, and it happens in other sports too. Like I told you with hockey, like I told you with Inter Miami. It's so when you're a lesser sport, and it's crazy to say that about baseball because like 30 years ago you would have gotten slapped silly for saying that, right? But baseball's a lesser sport now. Baseball is baseball is down to a niche sport, is what it is now. The general population doesn't watch baseball anymore. General population watches football and basketball. They don't watch baseball, hockey, or soccer. Maybe international soccer is getting to that point in this country where we might have a nice average amount of people watching international soccer. Maybe a lot more than baseball, hockey. Okay, let's be honest, and certainly way more than the MLS. But it's imperative, man, that you know how to sell your sport and market it. And that's where baseball has failed and other sports have failed in certain market. Look, in Toronto, dude, you don't have to work to sell hockey. And they've sucked forever. They haven't won anything in forever. Neil Rogers, rest in peace, is still pissed that they haven't won anything in forever. Okay? But you don't have to sell hockey there. They live, eat, and breathe it. But if you're down here in Florida and you're down here in South Florida, yeah, you got to find a way to sell it. And being good is nice and that'll get you your attention, but you got to have something that connects with people. You know what I mean? And it's nice to have players that have some personality and they're able to connect with you. You know what I mean? And that's going to be incredibly important. Big O, I was wondering where in your house do you have your studio? Are your dogs allowed inside? Well, all my dogs live inside the house, but the studio's in the second floor, and no, they are not allowed in here. No, no. I mean, once in a while, the wife will come in, and she'll bring one of the little ones or something, but I cannot bring my big dogs in here. Are you? No, man. There's cables and everything all over this. No, 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 no. They could create a real mess. You know what I'm saying? I got to make sure everything works. So I can't allow my big dogs in here. Plus, they would be so happier than a pig in crap. They would be like, they'd just be so happy that they'd be in here and they'd be, just tearing everything up, dude. Out of happiness, just crashing into things and all that. No, 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 no. Can't do that. Can't do that. We need to get Big O wide camera lens to see the studio. You know what? Maybe what I'll do is, and I don't know how to do this, guys, but maybe we can have multiple camera shots. Maybe I can do that down the line, and then we could show different angles of the room, and we'll do that. I can show my big Dr. J poster. I can show my Hurricanes plaque that they gave me years ago at the tavern in Coconut Grove. They gave me that thing, man, like 20 years ago. It was awesome. Got a Who frame with some of the tickets because I thought that was one of the last shows I was ever going to see of the Who, which was not true. I got some Greta, got Nita Strauss. She's autographed a poster when I went to see her. Let's see, what else do we have? We have Miami FC, Inter Miami, Southern Legion, Florida Panthers, all kinds of scarves that are up against the wall. Obviously, you see all the stuff here. I don't think you can see above, but above there's a Millennium Falcon, and there's my Iron Maiden plane, which I have a Ed Force One. See, here's a little Ed Force One for you. We do have to have the child. The child has to be in the room. All right. Baby Yoda. For those of you that don't know, I'm a monster Star Wars guy. So we'll have, a TIE fighter that could be coming at you. Maybe an X-Wing. Those kind of things. Ugh. So yeah, maybe I can come up with a what's that called? Extra cameras to kind of show the different angles of all of this. So there you go. So yeah, I may do something like that. I got a big ass TIE fighter too. This is my big ass TIE fighter. Yeah, I got all kinds of toys all over the place. What can I tell you? I'm a sicko. My son and I love Star Wars too. Well, of course. Who doesn't love? I mean, if you don't love Star Wars, isn't there something wrong with you? Right? I think there is, right? I think there's something wrong with you. All right, let's do this. Let's take a quick break. When we come back on the other side, we're going to talk to Manny Navarro to start off. We're going to talk to Aaron Wilson, NFL insider. We're going to talk all things NFL. We'll get his thoughts on the Dolphins. We'll get his thoughts on what's going on with Aaron Rodgers. He is in Houston, so we'll see what goes on with Deshaun Watson. A bunch of stuff, man, that we'll talk about when we come back on the other side and we talk to Aaron Wilson, NFL insider. He will join us next.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
This is the Big O Show.
There's many ways to support our program, from subscribing and liking the show to visiting our terrific sponsors. Another way is using Cash App. If you would like to donate to the show and help us grow, download Cash App and search Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show. We appreciate your support as we continue to build the best sports show on the planet for South Florida sports fans. Support the Big O Show by using Cash App and donate to Cash Big O Show. Thank you for your incredibly loyal support.
This is the Big O Show.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
All righty, we are back. Hour number 2 is ready to go. We promised you that Aaron Wilson would be kind enough to join us now to talk a little NFL. And, of course, you can follow him on Twitter at @AaronWilson_NFL. Aaron, good morning in your case, right? Because you're an hour behind. How you doing, my brother?
Doing great. Thanks for having me. Yeah, we are on Central Time here in Houston, Texas. And, glad to be here with you for your lunchtime.
Yes, thank you. As always, my brother, good stuff. We got a lot of things to talk about going on in the NFL. First of all, let's start off in your backyard. What's going to happen with Deshaun Watson? What is the latest? Do you see him getting moved this year, or is this something that's going to happen next season?
Right. Very fluid situation. And a lot of it is because of the legal predicament that Deshaun Watson's embroiled in. He's facing 22 civil lawsuits, as you know, all alleging various forms of sexual misconduct. And because it's unresolved, where you don't have a settlement and both attorneys, his attorney, Rusty Hardin, and you have, for the plaintiffs, Tony Busby, without any closure on that matter, the NFL is not going to act. They're not going to prejudge the case. And they have not officially closed the the investigation from the Houston Police Department. That's a parallel investigation. And meanwhile, the NFL investigator, Lisa Frau, she's doing her own investigation and monitoring all these legal developments. That blocks any possibility of the Texans getting fair value in a trade. And that's why Nick Caserio, who's a smart guy, their new general manager, came here from New England, former lieutenant to Bill Belichick. He's not going to do anything until this, to use a stock market analogy, Deshaun is a blue chip stock that's a bit depressed now because of, his legal matters. And until that's resolved, you can't put the cart before the horse in terms of what's important. The trade is captivating, and I think it will happen at some point. What I anticipate is commissioner's exempt list is probably the best compromise the NFL can come up with right now, where he would be paid on paid leave, as they did with Adrian Peterson, as they've done before with other players when they have a personal matter like Deshaun Watson. And this is fairly unprecedented, obviously, this volume of cases. And I'm not making a comment on the case itself. I'm just saying the fact that he has them is a big obstacle to trading him this year. So when you have closure with that and the NFL makes their ruling, then when will he be available? And then exactly if you're another general manager, another coach from another team, when are you getting Deshaun Watson on the field? Because if it's not this year, that changes things. And if you know that, let's say one scenario, this is a bad one for him, and it's possible, commissioner's exempt for the entire year. He's not scheduled for a deposition until February of 2022. So if he doesn't get deposed until next year, if they never settle this thing and they go to court, then Deshaun would likely get punished in 2022, hopefully before the NFL draft, traded in 2022, and missing a portion of the 2022 season. Obviously not, what he would hope for, or his agent, David Mulugeta, and everyone at Athletes First and his entire camp. What they would hope for is settling it, having the NFL rule in a swift manner. But the NFL, unlike our court system, they don't have to give you a fair and speedy trial. Essentially, you at Roger Goodell will make a decision based on Lisa Frau's recommendation. Remember Ezekiel Elliott, 6-game suspension for domestic violence when he was never charged with a crime. Deshaun Watson, it's important to note, never charged with a crime, has denied all wrongdoing. And, here in America, you're innocent until proven guilty. And civil matters is a very different, realm as far as what constitutes guilt, innocence. You could settle a case and not be guilty at all. You could, be extremely guilty. We don't know. There hasn't been any video or audio evidence, that type of thing. So, it's just a, complicated matter. And it's one that, out of respect for everyone, for the privacy involved, all those things, I won't judge the case. I just know that, it's something that it's not resolved. And I don't see anything being imminent with a resolution based on the statements from the lawyers and everything I've heard. So right now it's at an impasse.
Aaron, let me ask you a difficult question, because I don't know if you can really give me an answer on this. But if he settles, does that make it look worse in the NFL eyes outside of a guilty verdict? But if he settles, because a lot of us always feel like when you're settling, you're kind of admitting guilt, but you're just buying your way out of the situation. That's kind of the perception that comes with settling. I know sometimes they settle just to get it out of the way and get it out of the PR nightmare that it is. But at this point, because of everything else that's going on, a police investigation, an NFL investigation, it's almost like they have to ride this to the end, right? Because if they settle, that might be even a longer suspension in the NFL's eyes.
Potentially, yeah. Great question. I know this. The NFL holds much greater weight on any criminal proceedings. And in Deshaun's case, not having a criminal charge at this point, that is one of the best things, you say, well, wow, that's the best thing I'm going for. It's one of the best things in terms of his defense against NFL discipline is that it's a civil matter. And civil matters, the NFL does understand. They're facing their own, civil litigation in St. Louis. And, what I would say, court of public opinion, yes. But I think the NFL will look at it in a more progressive way to say, well, we understand you're not necessarily admitting guilt, unless that's a stipulation, which I could not foresee him ever after, all the strong denials from Deshaun and Rusty Harden, them stipulating to. But yes, sometimes you will settle a case to dispose of it so you can move on with your life personally and professionally. And that's certainly understandable by most. But yes, there are some that in the court of public opinion, the Twitterverse, et cetera, that they will view it that way. But I think that's why you have lawyers and you have public relations professionals and you have freedom of speech so you can explain, well, why did you do it? And at some point, he'll have an opportunity to, if there is a settlement, and we're not saying that there will be, we're saying that's a possibility, he'll have a chance to address all of that or have someone do that on his behalf. But now is not that time. But yeah, I think there will come a day where much will be revealed and, we can have more information on everything. But I foresee that being more like several months from now, not right now here in July.
Aaron Wilson, NFL insider, joining us here on the show. Make sure you follow him because he's always got great info. Aaron Wilson _NFL does an excellent job of covering the league. The other guy that kind of announced, was it like 2 days ago? Aaron Rodgers said that he will decide soon on what he's going to do. Have you heard what's going on in the Aaron Rodgers situation? Because I keep thinking, man, this guy X'd out his family. I think he's going to stick to his guns and not report to the Packers and not play. I don't think this guy's going to fold. You tell me what you know of this situation.
Not a ton of inside information, but reading the tea leaves and knowing Aaron Rodgers and his, personality, which, as Mark Murphy characterized, he's a complicated fella. I think that's a good way to put it. I think he pegged it just right. When you look at Aaron and how he will approach this, I foresee him skipping at least a portion of the training camp. And then behind the scenes, his agent, David Dunn, continues to negotiate with Mark Murphy and with Brian Gutekunst and trying to find a financial compromise and perhaps maybe a promise to trade him after this season. But I say he either plays for the Green Bay Packers this year or he plays for no one. That's my expectation. And it could very well be not playing for the Packers this year and just sitting out. It's a very, very combustible situation. And obviously, the communication between Aaron Rodgers and the Packers was poor, to say the least. And that's one of the biggest, breakdowns here. They drafted Jordan Love. They didn't let him know they were doing that. He wanted that courtesy. He wanted to be treated like a partner, wanted to have, not necessarily a voice in, what they do, but he wanted to know. And, well, what does this mean? What are you thinking about it? And no one has said, by the way, that Jordan Love is ready to lead the Packers. I think they're not necessarily a playoff team with Jordan Love, unless Aaron Jones runs for 2,000 yards or something. I mean, I'm just not a big believer in Jordan Love at this point. I've covered one of his preseason games, and I just don't see it. I don't foresee, him all of a sudden light clicking on, and I know he's talented and I know he's a hard worker and all of those things, but he's not Aaron Rodgers. They would take a step back. What they should do is guarantee a lot of Aaron's contract and try to work out some kind of compromise. And if they know, and they should know, if Love is going to be good enough, regardless of, just from the practices and all the other opportunities they've had to evaluate him, you should know if you want to make a commitment to Aaron for more than 1 year, structure this so it's a few years, and then you either move on with Jordan Love or with someone else if he's not the guy. But I think that you don't have enough information if you're the Packers to just blindly move on from Aaron Rodgers, try to get something good back from, say, the Denver Broncos or another party. I just can't see it. And I think they've got to do everything they can to make up with Aaron Rodgers, which is obviously obvious, but I just don't see him showing up. He's not going to do all of this and then just cave and be there first day. Right. And everything's fine. No way. That's not Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt about that. All right, we'll wrap this part up with what's your gut tell you, because Peyton Manning doesn't think that the Broncos will be able to trade for for Aaron Rodgers. So who's the team you think will desperately want Deshaun, and who's the team you think will desperately want Aaron Rodgers?
The Philadelphia Eagles for Deshaun Watson is the team I believe is the best suitor for him. Remember, Jeffrey Lurie was the owner when they brought in Michael Vick and I'm not comparing the types of situations, but it was obviously a negative, PR fallout, to say the least, from the dogfighting and him being in Leavenworth prison. But they were able to make that work. I thought that was, obviously it took a lot of behind the scenes things and also a sincere effort for Michael Vick to change from what he was doing before to where he is now. So with Deshaun, different type of public relations situation, but one that the Eagles have shown that they have the stomach for in the past to deal with and to take on. And their quarterback situation with Jalen Hurts as QB1, I think Jalen has some promise. I know Jalen a little bit. Jalen's a Houston kid. Just saw him this summer at an autograph show, caught up with him. I think he's got talent. I think he's got every intangible, but he's not Deshaun Watson. And I think that the Eagles make a lot of sense. The Panthers obviously have bowed out. The Broncos, they're still a team that, to me, that makes the most sense for Aaron Rodgers. I've got an interesting team, and I'm not reporting this, but I think the team that really would be a great fit for Aaron Rodgers, I could see them making some magic together, him and Sean Payton with the New Orleans Saints. Ooh. How good would that be?
Yeah.
You plug him in with the Saints in the NFC, and you move on from Jameis Winston, you have Taysom Hill, you have backup, or whatever you do. But I like that one. But the Packers are going to ask for so much that it'll be tough to pull off. For any team, you're going to have to give up a lot to get Aaron Rodgers. And both these teams, I think, will hope for 2-3 first-round draft picks in exchange for these franchise quarterbacks.
Are you buying Hill or Winston in New Orleans?
I am skeptical. I've covered some Jameis games, and bad Jameis is hard to watch. Against a Texans secondary that was far from talented. I watched him throw several interceptions. I think it was 5, if I remember correctly. And this was a couple years ago. It's hard. The guy just tends to take too many chances. I think if any coach is going to be able to get something out of him, you would have thought it would have been Bruce Arians, and it wasn't. Maybe Sean Payton can have different results with Jameis. And I think he's also still, despite the interceptions, the best suited to run their team. Where Taysom Hill, to me, he's an athletic running quarterback, great jack of all trades, but to me, he doesn't get you over the top and win you a Super Bowl or get you to the Super Bowl. I would just take my chances with a gunslinger like Jameis and hope that you can get the best out of him. And to me, that's what they have. But no, I'm not buying.
I got to tell you, Aaron, one guy that proved me wrong, and I've been in this business now 31 years, and one of the hard line, things that I go by is if you're not an accurate passer in college, you will never turn into an accurate passer in the NFL. And Josh Allen obliterated that theory of mine, because up until Josh Allen, it had not happened yet. And maybe he goes back to his ways. I don't know, but he's been phenomenal in these last 2 years and how he has grown and proven me wrong. I've never bought Jalen Hurts as a passer. And I know you talked highly about him now. And like I asked you about Hill and Winston, are you buying Jalen Hurts as a passer at this level?
He's solid. He's not someone that I think does a lot in terms of being a classic pocket passer. But he is able to move, create passing lanes, and he can deliver the football. He's a good football player. He's a hell of an athlete. He's a power lifter. He's a strong guy. He's tough, and he's athletic. He's built like a running back, and he's sort of a running back playing quarterback that also has some QB skills. He's a different kind of quarterback. He is very versatile, multidimensional. I wouldn't really say he's electric. He's not that type of wiggle in terms of the open field, but he's good. And I think that he can get the ball where it needs to go most of the time. But Jay, like you mentioned with accuracy, like Josh Allen, I think his receivers at Wyoming were pretty, substandard, and they dropped a lot of his throws. So that led to bad numbers. So that's one thing. When they talk about completion percentages, you got to watch the tape and to see, is it his fault if he's throwing 55, 50%, or is it the receivers, or is it, something else, or is it the pass rush that they're allowing? But when I think of Jalen, and, I've watched him, a fair amount, I think his best football is still ahead of him. He's just played a little bit, and the small sample size gave me some reason to think that he can win some games. But to me, the Eagles are a team that's in a rebuild mode, and they're just getting started. I don't think they're a strong playoff contender, especially not with the Washington football team and the kind of defense, the wrecking crew they've got. They're putting together with Chase Young and company. I just don't see it.
All right, Aaron, let me go to our division here in our backyard. Are you buying Newton or Mac Jones or neither guy?
I like Mac Jones' upside more than Cam Newton, even a healthy Cam. Cam's shoulder has just been rough for years, and he's not an accurate quarterback, and I think his athleticism is waning. So some of the things that made him special as a running quarterback, he's still very good. I just feel like that's not as much in the plus category as it was. I think they've got to get Mac ready, and I foresee a quarterback competition in training camp in New England. And I can see Mac Jones, if they deem him ready. Remember, Bill Belichick, once Drew Bledsoe was healthy, he had seen enough of Tom Brady, a former 6th-round draft pick from Michigan, and he made the move. Tom Brady, permanent starter. Drew Bledsoe traded to Buffalo.
Well, we saw out of BYU a kid, a young man who took the Bears to a championship one year, and we saw Steve Young also come out of BYU. Are you buying Zach Wilson with the Jets?
I just don't think we know enough, and generally rookie quarterbacks struggle. I think there's going to be some tough moments for Zach. I love the arm strength and his ability to throw it at a lot of weird angles, and he's a good athlete too. He's a little undersized, and durability is something that I'm going to be keeping a close eye on. But yeah, I would say I love Zach's future. I just might not love what you're going to see from him in the present. It could get a little messy out there.
So no McMahon, no Young yet for you in that one. All right. And so now the one that everybody's going to be waiting for, are you buying Tua?
I'm got a mixed review on Tua, and most teams do too. And, for Tua, in fairness, last year he's coming off of an injury. So he's a guy that's being thrown in there, and he's being asked to be a game manager. They're going to ask more from him this year. Brian Flores will entrust more responsibility for Tua to run the offense and to be more of a fully formed quarterback. I think we've got to see what this guy looks like, having had a full off season to really train and get himself healthy and be comfortable. And we're going to see what he's all about. I think we got to give him a chance. I think we make too many lasting, strong opinions on guys without enough of a body of work. And I think we still need to learn more about Tua. But I tend to lean more toward he's just going to be solid, not a star right now, is the way I feel about him.
Great insight as always, Aaron Wilson. Make sure you follow him on Twitter like I and many others do at Aaron_NFL. Aaron, as always, my brother, thank you for taking some time, man. We really appreciate it. Can't wait for this season, man. Just a couple weeks away.
Thanks for having me.
You got it, baby. There you go. The great Aaron Wilson. Good stuff by him. We appreciate him taking some time to join us here and have a little fun and talk some NFL. So there you go. He's you got his straight opinion on Tua. All of that going on. All right. Remember, you can reach out to us on email at bigoradioshow@yahoo.com. That's bigoradioshow@yahoo.com. Of course, the YouTube chat board is there for you. Twitter at Big O Show. That's another one. Follow us there on Twitter. You can always find out what guests we're going to have. The latest podcasts are posted. If you haven't subscribed to it, you'll find it. Maybe you forgot to subscribe. Please subscribe. Please smash the hell out of that like button. That is so important. And of course, Cash App, Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show. Appreciate all of you out there. Mike No Go Zone says, I still find these accusations against Watson highly suspect. The timing of these accusations are dodgy at best. King Short says, strangely quiet in Watson camp. And Dougie Fresh says, Watson being quiet personifies a profound statement of remaining out of the spotlight. Absence is the greatest presence. See, the problem is with all of this is that none of us really know what the hell went on. But in the end, okay, we don't know if there was sexual assault happening or not, or it was consensual or not. But I will tell you this. If I'm the NFL team acquiring Deshaun Watson, I have to sit down and have a man-to-man conversation with him. And like say, okay, you realize that what you did was incredibly stupid, right? Like I want to hear you, Deshaun. Tell me that what you did was incredibly stupid. You're reaching out to strange women on Instagram, whether you want a massage or you want to get laid, you're putting yourself in a really difficult situation by going to meet absolute strangers, and you don't know what's going to happen. Repeat with me. Are you stupid for doing this? And I got to hear Deshaun Watson tell me, no, yeah, I'm a freaking moron. Because, I mean, we're all dumb, right? We all do something that we regret. What were we thinking? We made a stupid mistake. It cost this person this. I hurt this person. I was late. I lost out on this. Whatever happened because you made a stupid mistake, right? Because we all make them. That's why we're human beings. So if he didn't commit crimes, which we don't know if he did or didn't, okay? We don't know if he committed the crimes, and we don't know if they're gold diggers. I have no idea because none of us were there. And we have yet to see video of anything or pictures or something that gives us so we don't really know if he's being quiet because he's smart. There are some people with orange hair that don't shut up and keep burying themselves. So it's smart to stay quiet in all of this. You understand? But I just don't know what happened behind the scenes. But what I do know is you're a freaking idiot. That I know. So I have to sit down with him if I'm the general manager and the coach and say, okay, stupid shit like this isn't going to happen anymore, right? Your dumb ass isn't going to be calling women anymore, right? You're going to go try to meet women the normal way, right? And then I got to hear him because I got to be brutally honest with him. If I'm going to coach him, if I'm going to sign him, if I'm going to trade for him, I want to hear him say, I'm an effing idiot. And I'll never do this again. And not only that, I'm not only trading for Deshaun Watson, okay? I'm also putting something in the contract that has to do with behavior. So that way, if anything like this happens again, we're protected when it comes to the money, when it comes to the cap. So we can release your ass and you got to give us money back if we gave you a signing bonus. All those kind of things, I got to set it straight with him before I trade him. Because that's the one thing that came out of this. Deshaun Watson es un come mierda. Okay? Deshaun Watson is an effing freaking idiot. He is a stupid human being. And so he better admit that he's a stupid human being in this case. We all have our stupid moments. Bro, come clean. Because what you did, you set yourself up for this. Whether you committed crimes or you didn't, you put yourself in a position to be whatever, shark bait or a criminal. One of the two. Whichever one it is. But the bottom line is, Deshaun Watson, you're an idiot, bro. I don't know if you're a criminal, but I know you're stupid. I know you're not very smart. You might be football smart, but when it comes to common sense and life, you're a freaking dumbass. I've said this 100 times in my show over the years. When you're a famous, I don't care what it is, entertainer, politician, athlete, singer, you name it, don't go out with normal people. Don't go out with people that have nothing to lose. That makes no sense. And I get it, love you can't control. But if you're a person that is up somewhere where you've got a lot to lose, go out with people that have as much to lose. That's the best thing for in this world where you can't trust anybody, where you don't know who is who. Go out with people that have as much to lose as you. And you're Deshaun Watson, bro. You can go out with stars, and they'll go out with you. But that to me is what comes out of this, the whole Deshaun Watson situation. I don't know if he's a criminal or not, but I do know this. Que clase come mierda. That's all I can say, Let's see. One accuser, but multiple accusers. GP Trap, I don't know, man. I know, I get it. It sounds fishy, multiple, but I don't know. I don't know. You might be right. You might be right. But again, we don't know. But I do know one thing about him. That I know. He put himself in this position. He set himself up to be in this position. Hey, I know I'm watching you at least a half hour behind. I notice you're starting to go bald in the back of your head. Yes, I am. Bro, I'm 54 years old. I'm going to be 55 in a couple months. I mean, the fact that I still have hair is amazing. Okay. So, it is what it is. I am wearing a hat that I wear every other day for like 24 minutes. And it's grown a few hairs, but not a lot. Not a lot. I'm developing the human yarmulke. So yeah. Yep. So GP Trap says Jlo is single again. No, she's not. She's wait a minute. They broke up? Hold on a second. I mean, she's going out with Ben Affleck. Like, they're all over the place. Did Ben and Jlo break up again? Now you're ahead of me on this one, GP Trap. If Jlo and Ben broke up now, then yeah, she's single. But apparently she's been he and Jlo are like super tight, hanging out with her family, and they're going on vacations. And she's like, she's said many times she's super happy and yada 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 and all that good stuff. Armed Ape says, what I don't get is why an NFL star is trolling Instagram looking for. That's my point. That's my point with Deshaun Watson. Es un come mierda. That's the only way I can phrase it. He's eating a lot of crap. Yes, he's a dumbass. Let's see. Walk into any club and they're lining up to crawl in bed with you. Poo brains is exactly right. That's what it is. That's to me the one thing that stands out of all of it. I don't know if he's guilty or not. I don't know if he's a criminal or not. But I do know this. You are one stupid ass mofo. That I know about Deshaun Watson. That I can tell you right away. Okay? Big O, I've been bald since I was 23. Not bad. Save some money. Haircuts. Jlo is still a 10. I think she's like a 12, actually, to be honest with you. All right. It is time now. We promised you we're going to talk a little Canes football, and we're going to have our Caneswear Miami Hurricanes report with Manny Navarro. And let's bring him aboard. There we go. We got the board and everything ready. There we go. I got it right the first time. That's actually awesome. Manny, I was just talking about this. We were just talking with Aaron Wilson, NFL Insider, and we were talking about the Deshaun Watson situation. And I don't know if he's guilty or not. None of us really know what the hell went on behind the scenes, if it was consensual, if it wasn't or not. But the one thing that came out of this, if I'm a GM trading for him and if I'm the head coach that coaches him, I got to sit down and say, and look at him in the eyes and say, okay, admit to me that you're a dumbass for putting yourself in this position, right? I mean, you're Deshaun Watson and you're searching for hoes on Instagram. How do you think that's going to end, dumbass? So please, at least tell me that you're a dumbass. Please admit to me that you had a really, because we all do, right, Manny? We all have a stupid moment, right? Or two or three in our lives that we do something that, oh my God, how did I do this? What did I, and we regret it. I would hope that that's the one thing that comes out of this, whether he's a criminal or not, I don't know. They'll decide that. But you got to be a dumbass to put yourself in this position, correct?
There's no question. I mean, this is a situation now where he's got to apologize profusely, right, and ask for forgiveness in this country, which we do give to athletes very often. That said, this, in today's age with the Me Too movement and everything going on, this might be the kind of thing that you never really recover from either, from a public image perspective. So I think that Deshaun Watson's in a really tough place right now, and he made mistakes. It's obvious he made mistakes, and he's got to own up to them and apologize and hope that somewhere down the line the world is willing to forgive him.
That to me is going to be the interesting part, is how this thing ends. But I would hope that from here on, because I've always said this on my show for many, many years. You're a famous person, Manny. Go out with somebody that has as much to lose as you do, because then you'll have a chance to at least find out if the relationship is real. But if you're going out with a regular person, you have no idea if that's a gold digger or not. But if you're a famous politician or a musician or athlete, it behooves you to go out with somebody at your tax bracket, bro. I know it sounds cold and crude, but it kind of is almost the best way for you to maybe avoid those kind of issues.
Yeah, no question. I think, you got to surround yourself around the people who have your best interest at heart. And if you're around other athletes who have a lot to lose, they're not going to do stupid things either, because they know that they have a lot to lose. And I think in this situation, he made bad choices, man. And you got to pay for it once it becomes in the public. I mean, let's face it, though, how many of these athletes have these sort of hidden skeletons and issues that never really do come out?
Right.
And they're able to survive it. In his case, it just mixed in with everything else of him wanting out of Houston, and God knows what the team did behind the scenes to help this get out more, to hurt his trade value so they wouldn't have to trade him, all that kind of stuff. I don't, everybody's got an angle here. And for right now, if I'm in Deshaun Watson's camp, I'm telling him, hey, man, backpedal and ask for forgiveness. That's the only thing you can do right now.
All right, Manny, let's talk a little Canes. Let's have a little fun with this. First of all, what are the three most concerning issues for you going into this season?
Well, I think number one, it's linebacker. You don't know what you have at that position, and you need drastic improvement there. You were slow. You were out of place. You were among the worst in the country, according to Pro Football Focus, in the way that they graded the position last year. And so you need more consistency there. I think Miami feels like they're going to get that out of Corey Flagg, who's going to be a second-year freshman. They think he's, could be their starting middle linebacker, a reliable guy who could be a 3-year starter here. But, at the weak side position, you're kind of experimenting a little bit. You got Sam Brooks Jr., who's coming back from a toe injury that kept him out most of the spring and affected him all of last year. He's in great shape. He's 230 pounds, but, he's coming back from injury. And even if he showed flashes here and there in the past, you need consistency from him. And then you got a kid like Keontra Smith, who's going to be in the fight there for the starting job at weak side linebacker, who is a former safety who's 205, 210 pounds. They're trying to put weight on. And so, I think it's a very tenuous position going into the year. You're playing a team like Alabama right out of the gate, who's got one of the best offensive lines in the country every single year, biggest guys, big physical, move guys out of the way. So that to me, is number one. Number two, I think the pass rush. How do you replace, multiple first round picks, another guy in Quincy Roche, who was drafted as well, who was among the best pass rushers in the ACC. Two guys that played a ton. I think both of those guys, Jalen Phillips and Quincy Roche, are not going to be easy to replace. They've got a lot more bodies that they're going to rotate in there, but I'd say that, that's issue number two for me. Do you get enough production out of those edge rushers? And then the third side is the receiver. That's the biggest one on offense. Do you have the playmaker now in Charleston Rambo, who's going to put you over the top, who's going to put you in a position to really play with Alabama or to really beat a North Carolina? Is he the deep threat that you need, the consistent, reliable receiver? I think he is, but still, it's one guy that they added. You still have Mark Pope. You still have D. Wiggins, who have dropped balls left and right. You got Mike Harley in the slot. You got to replace Brevin Jordan at tight end. Will Mallory, I think everybody's excited about. But again, can he be the man week in and week out and produce at the kind of level that Brevin Jordan did before? So I think those are the three big question marks from a position perspective going into the season.
What do we know about De'Aaron King health-wise? I know they keep that stuff under wraps from you guys as much as possible, but what do we know?
Well, listen, I've seen videos over and over again, De'Aaron posting videos on Instagram and Twitter, and that's how you keep up with these athletes, right, with where they are nowadays. And he's constantly posting videos himself, going through workouts, running, cutting on the knee, doing everything that he needs to do to get ready for the season. I can tell you internally from multiple conversations that I've had with Manny Diaz since the end of the season at various points here over the summer, that he is utterly and completely optimistic that De'Aaron King is going to be ready to go to play against Alabama. So, we'll have to see. Once he's on the field, how much hesitancy he shows to take off and run. I don't think he will show any, because I think he's just going to go out there and play the way that he plays the game. But there's no doubt that it's going to be a question mark. We're going to be at practice once practice starts here in the beginning of August. Every day, the 15 minutes that we get out there, I'm sure all of us, all the beat reporters who are out there, are going to be looking at De'Aaron and seeing how he moves on that knee. Does he have any setbacks? Does he have to miss practices because he feels uncomfortable? Do they let him? Or do they just go full speed with him and as if everything is okay? 9 months removed from surgery. I said this last week when I was on the show with you. I think most athletes nowadays, you say ACL, MCL, you and I know it as a year-long injury, right? He's not going to be back for a year. I think there's enough examples here recently. Amari Rodgers from Clemson, the receiver, he came back within 5.5 months, 6 months of an ACL tear and played well. I think De'Aaron King is the type of athlete who has the kind of work ethic that he's going to be healthy enough to start against Alabama.
All right, I know you're working on a recruiting piece.
Yes.
It'll come out later on this week. Let's talk not to give away everything that we're working on, but give us a little nugget or two from it.
Sure. Well, we're doing a recruiting confidential piece over at The Athletic, and I think the first one that launched on Monday was the state of Ohio. Today, I think they put out South Carolina. But essentially what we're doing is we're reaching out to coaches and people who are on the recruiting scene across the state and, getting their honest opinions. We're not giving their names away so that we can get their honest opinions and their thoughts on a lot of different issues. The way Miami recruits, the way Florida recruits, Florida State, all the state schools, who are the best recruiters, who has the best tactics, which schools cheat the most, which schools have the best approach and why it works. So it's interesting hearing some of the answers, man. I've talked to coaches from Gainesville, I've talked to coaches from Tallahassee, obviously here in our backyard in South Florida, to hear some of their answers and some of their responses when they don't have to feel responsible, having their name attached to it, knowing they have the relationships with those schools. So interesting to hear their answers, and I think it'll be an interesting read. One thing I will share.
Wait a minute before you continue there, because the cheating part got me. You got my attention there on the cheating part. So I'm just wondering here. The punchline's coming. How many SEC schools are going to be in that article? Because they print money in that damn conference.
It's so funny. That it happens so often that a lot of these coaches. All of them tell me, nothing I've seen firsthand, but, it's always the but. And the way that a lot of them view it is, look, it's just the way life is. Like, this is what happens, right? If the school really wants a kid, they're going to take care of a kid and take care of his family any way that they have to do it. And it's been happening for so long that it's just like it's embedded in the lifestyle of what it is in recruiting nowadays. And so it's interesting to me. One thing I'm going to point out, in this story, and it was interesting to me. I went back and I researched the last 6 NFL drafts. And, they have everything down by what high schools the kids come out of, what state, etc. Look, Florida, hands down, is the most productive state in the country. I know everybody talks about California, Texas. You go back, Florida is better than Texas, better than California in terms of producing draft picks, in terms of producing blue chip players every
Coaches
year.
Have told me, by the way, Georgia's like right there with those.
Georgia's 4th, right? It's pretty much Florida, Texas, California, Georgia, Louisiana, and then Ohio in that order. But my point is this, we talk about here, we take great pride in Florida, right? All the time. Look at all the South Florida high school kids who get drafted in the first round every single year. Here's an interesting stat for you. And maybe it doesn't surprise you, but 27 first round picks since 2016 have come out of the state of Florida, played their high school football in Florida. How many of them do you think played for an in-state school?
I'm going to say 25% of them.
Good answer. 7 out of 27 played
Oh,
for the in-state college. Yeah. So you know,
oh, dude,
that,
Alabama, Ohio State, you know,
right.
you get offers from Clemson. You get, you know, you got to look at those kind of offers and say, hey, I'd rather go there, especially the state schools right now. These three are down as it is.
But you go back to the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s when Miami, Florida State were all winning national championships, and that number is completely the inverse. 75% of the first round picks, 80% were coming to the in-state school. So that's where it all starts.
And they were getting the other states top whatever guys were coming to Miami, Florida State also, because you know, we're littered with guys that came from California, and you know, Warren Sapp wasn't from here, and a ton of guys that weren't from here that came here and helped build the Canes up to where they got to. So they were also stealing some of those top-notch guys from other places, where now that's changed. They're not getting as many of the top-notch guys around the country, and they're losing out on their own top-notch guys in their backyard right now.
Only 3 Hurricanes in the last 6 years have been first-round picks from the state of Florida. So I mean, that just tells you where Miami is from where they were. And you know, everybody loves to sit here and point to coaching and Manny Diaz, the second half, he gets exposed on whatever people say, right? Every single year. It's like, no, dude, like, you win and lose in recruiting. The best players help you win. That's what happens. And Alabama, you know, Miami's had 3 in the last 6 drafts come out of the state of Florida. Alabama's recruited 5 first-round picks in the last 6 drafts out of Florida. So, I mean, that's what's happening. They're getting the best players. Georgia's getting the best players. And, you know, if you're going to turn it around, it starts with that. And, you know, the one thing I'll say, and maybe even this kind of bleeds into maybe the next topic we'll talk about, you know, you have to upgrade your recruiting department. I think Manny Diaz has done that little by little here since taking over from Mark Richt. DeMarcus Van Dyke, Travaris Robinson, making those moves, particularly in the secondary, I think is helping them out tremendously.
Yeah, I just read an article about Brian Hartline and all the things that he's doing at Ohio State. I think he's labeled like the best recruiter in the damn country, kind of like what Cristobal had when he was at Alabama with Hartline. So talk to us a little bit about what DVD is doing and helping out the secondary for the Canes.
Yeah, well, obviously at the end of last season, Diaz made a change. He moved Mike Rumpf, who'd been the cornerbacks coach for 5 or 6 years there, back to the recruiting department, and he put DVD in a position where, as the cornerbacks coach, he could go on the road to recruit and have a bigger influence on the position. And then he goes out and he hires Travaris Robinson, who over his years, you know, a South Florida kid out of Miami, Coral Park, went and played at Auburn, coached at Florida, coached at South Carolina, everywhere in the SEC, pulls kids out of everywhere. He teamed these 2 guys up together, and I think it's really made a huge difference in terms of Miami now being able to get the elite cornerbacks, and not just from Florida, but all over the country. They went out and they got this Kamari Rogers kid who's a top 10 cornerback at his position out of Mississippi. I mean, when was the last time you heard Miami getting a kid out of Mississippi, right? They got Chris Graves, a 4-star cornerback out of Fort Myers, Bishop Verot here, who picked Miami over LSU, South Carolina, and Florida, who, you know, again, why? Because J.C. Horn, who was the last first-round pick out of South Carolina, the cornerback who played for Travaris Robinson there, he basically said, hey, you want to go play for this guy. So, you know, and they're in the hunt for more guys, more elite guys. There's a kid out of Alabama, Jaquan Fagans, who Miami has been on for a while. DVD behind the scenes, and I can tell you, not just from talking to the kids, but talking to the high school coaches, he is a recruiting star. He's a guy who's going to, whether he stays at Miami long-term or not, somebody's going to pay him a lot of money to be a recruiter, because he knows how to bond with the kids and really get them to feel comfortable with him and believe in him and trust him. And I think, you know, it was a brilliant move by Manny Diaz. And we'll see here. If they get this Jaquan Fagan kids, between him, Chris Graves, and the Kamari Rogers kids, they might have the best cornerback class in the country coming in, and they need it. They need it badly, because the quarterback position.
You lost 3 pass rushers. And so you better have a great secondary to help the new pass rushers get to the damn quarterback, because as we know, they work hand in hand. You get great pass rush, that helps your secondary. You get a great secondary, that helps your pass rush, vice versa.
No doubt. And you know, one thing I like about T-Rob and DVD and their approach is they're taking sort of a blueprint of, what they want in a quarterback. They want long arms, they want height, they want speed, and they're pretty much sticking to it. This Chris Graves kid is 6'1", 180. He's got a really long wingspan and reach. I mean, it's sort of like, hey, yes, there's a lot of great talented players in South Florida, and we're going to consider them, but we're not married to them. There's Earl Little's son, who Earl Little, of course, played for the Hurricanes. He's one of the top cornerbacks in the country. Alabama's probably going to end up taking him. But in most years, Earl Little's kid picks Alabama like Patrick Surtain did a couple of years ago, right? His son, Patrick Surtain II. You're like, oh, this is devastating. Miami can't survive this. They're not acting that way anymore. They're like, you know what, Earl Little Jr., you want to go to Alabama? You want to go play at LSU? We're going to keep recruiting. We're going to get another elite guy who's from Mississippi or from Fort Myers or from Alabama, wherever, and we're still going to get a guy who's going to help us win. And I think that is super important if they're ever going to get anywhere with this program, if they're ever going to get back to competing in the college football playoff and winning ACC titles, etc.
Let's hope so. By the way, visit our friends at Canes. We're at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, so you can get ready for the Canes football season. One more thing before I let you go. What is the biggest test for Manny this season in your eyes?
Wow. Well, he needs to prove that being a defensive coordinator and head coach at the same time isn't a bad decision. That first and foremost, he's got to be able to handle both of those duties. And, I know a lot of head coaches, believe that they can handle multiple responsibilities. But I wrote a preview for Duke the other day, and their head coach, who's one of the best quarterback whisperers in the country, he decided he was going to go back and start calling plays again, right, last season, and realized, you know what, man, I can't do this and be the head coach. And he realized it was a mistake, David Cutcliffe. And so he hired 2 offensive coordinators, and he's back to just being the head coach. Some guys can make it work. Some guys can't. And I think, in Manny Diaz's case, I think people are going to, if this defense isn't as good as he wants it to be, people are going to say, well, you should have hired a defensive coordinator. You shouldn't have brought this duty onto yourself. Manny is convinced, because he has Rhett Lashley handling the offense, that he will be able to pull this off.
Well, I just thought of something. So one more question before I let you go. Yeah. It happens in your business, yet it's an issue now at the next level because it's happening in our backyard. In college, we have watched college influence the NFL a lot over the last couple of years. And one of the latest things is what the Dolphins are doing with 2 coordinators, where in college, there are several teams that have 2 coordinators. And you just mentioned now, Duke hires 2 coordinators. What convinces you that it can work at the next level since it's worked at college?
Well, having talked to both of their coordinators for that story that I did in the Athletic previewing their season, I think there has to be a clear defined role, right? One guy's the play caller. The other guy maybe specifically draws up the game plan week to week to week. I think what happens is when you don't have a good sort of firm setup of, hey, this is my responsibility, this is your responsibility, that's when you get into trouble, because come game day, there's going to be arguments. There's going to be, things that you can't afford to do on game day, right? You have to be well thought out and planned ahead of time. And I think that's the number one issue is, can guys stick to what it is that their responsibilities are? And I think all of that comes back to confidence that they have in themselves, and confidence that they have in the head coach is going to trust them. How much is the head coach going to interfere in some of those type of discussions when on game day? I think in Manny Diaz's case with Miami, he really does feel like Rhett Lashley is another head coach. He feels like, hey, you know what? Offense is his area. I really don't have to screw with that at all.
Right.
And so as far as the pros are concerned, it'll be interesting, man. I mean, I think they'll make it work. They usually have a passing game coordinator and a running game coordinator, right, is the way that they sort of split up the duties. Again, as long as you have one distinct guy who is calling the plays on game day, I think you're fine.
By the way, did you guys announce? I don't know. I may have missed it. Who the hell is replacing Tolentino on your?
Nothing decided yet. One thing that we've done at the Athletic a lot of times is we just have a lot of our national guys who are free to kind of swoop in and write whenever they want. To come in and do that kind of stuff. I don't know when, a decision will be reached. I know right now it's not the middle of the football season, so they're in no rush.
Sure.
I know camp is around the
Don't
corner.
worry, they'll fill that spot the day before the season starts. Don't worry about it.
Right.
how the
I may get a
football
phone
works.
call. I may get a phone call and say, hey, can you this is going on. Can you go down to Davie and help out with that? It's happened with the Heat. I've covered the Heat playoff run the last 2 years. So look, man, it's the way it is. This business is it changes by the day. Things change by the day.
Tell me about it.
But the athletic, the one thing I will say is they have a good foundation and they're supportive. They've given me a travel budget. I'm traveling to every single Hurricanes game this year. A lot of other writers can't say that. So I think if you read The Athletic, whether you have a Dolphins beat writer or not at the beginning of the season, I wouldn't worry. There's still a lot of reasons to sign up and read The Athletic.
There you go. Follow him on Twitter. Manny_Navarro catches exceptional work there at the Athletic website, and subscribe to it. It's also at a discounted rate, man. It's a steal. It's a bargain. You're going to love it. Manny, as always, my brother, thank you for our Caneswear Miami Hurricanes report. We will talk to you again on Friday. You be good out there.
You too, man. Talk to you soon.
Thank you. That is the great Manny Navarro and our Caneswear Miami Hurricanes report. I like it. Dougie Fresh goes, the video interviews add a lot to your show. Can't wait for your AT&T chick interview. Yeah. Can you guys hook me up with Lily here and get her on the show? Maybe one of the more underrated babes on television, Lily. She got them Latin curves too. I don't know if she's got any Latin in her, but man, she got them curves. When Lily walks around, they should have that sign that says dangerous curves ahead, that kind of stuff. The Culture Room just announced The Fix and the English Beat, Saturday, October 23rd. Tickets go on sale Friday, July 16th. Oh my Lord. You know where I'm going to be? Just saw that right now from our friends at the Culture Room. That is awesome. I love The Fix. For those of you that don't know, Iron Maiden, U2, The Fix, and The Cure. Those are my 4 bands. Like anything. Like I will go to the ends of the earth to go see those 4 bands anywhere, anytime. So The Fix coming to town. I can't wait. And I get a little English beat. That is awesome. There are clear rows. Studs is responsible for developing the run game and Godsey for the pass game. It doesn't matter which guy calls plays. No. It matters. It matters. You got to have one guy call the plays, Rage, and it can't go back and forth. I would imagine it's the passing coordinator that's going to be calling the plays because passing is more important than running in today's NFL. So I would imagine that the passing guy is going to be calling the plays, but it is very important because you got to nail it. You got to make sure you got the right guy calling it. And he's got to have a feel for what's going on and a feel for what the opponent is doing or going to do. It's a mental chess game and I think that's what Manny was talking about. When you're a head coach and then you've also got to call the plays, how do you run the team? You can't, because you've got to be in tune with everything that's going on the field every second. So you have a feel for how you're going to call a game, offensively or defensively. Takes a lot out of you, man. It's not that easy, so it's a challenge, and Manny's going to have to kind of balance that because he's obviously taking over the defense and he's the head coach of the team. Big O, you wearing a mask when you go to a concert now? That's a great question, John. You know what? I may have a mask in my pocket. If I'm stuck in a crowd of people, I probably will put on the mask just because of all the imaging that I have in my head now of people sneezing and wheezing and all the crap flying in the air. So that's just kind of gross. But if I just walk into the arena and I'm hanging out, I probably won't. I'm vaccinated, dude. Listen, I did what I was supposed to do. Okay? I did what I was supposed to do. I cared for every fellow American out there, and you all know it. I wore my mask all the time when I had to. Okay? And I wore it everywhere I went. And John knows because he saw me in several places. He visited us at Caneswear. He's visited us at Acura. He's visited us at Toyota. He's visited us all over the place. And I always had the mask on. And I respected that. Okay, I kept my distance. I washed my hands. I'm still doing all those things except, of course, wearing the mask. But now I got vaccinated. And listen, man, if you didn't get vaccinated, I'm not talking to John. I'm talking about in general. The people that don't want to get vaccinated, well, you know what? I've gotten to the point where that's your effing problem, bro, not mine. So I try not to mask anymore now. Because worst case scenario, even if I do get it, I'm not going to get hospitalized. I'm not going to die. You know what I mean? But if I am in a sardine can, John, I may put on my mask just because it's gross. I told you guys this a long time ago. I'm traveling with a mask from now on. When I go on airports and planes, I'm going to have a mask on. Okay? For sure. I'm going to have a mask on every single time I go on a plane now. Forget the COVID. I don't care. It's just gross. That's all, So, yeah, I won't be wearing a mask unless in the culture room I probably will wear a mask because you're all bunched up in the culture room. So, yeah. So I probably will wear it. I mean, look, right now, 99% of the people that are getting hospitalized and are dying are the people that aren't vaccinated. I mean, just do the math, man. You know what I mean? Whatever. These people that want to fight all this stuff and fight the virus and fight this. No, man, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. What else do we have to talk about here? Good morning, Big Chris from Arizona. Today is my Friday here at Amazon. I'm going to be listening to you all day. Inner stone cold voice. I like it. But Chris, we're like at the end of the show now. So you just tuned in towards the end. I love you for tuning in. Thank you, sir. You may have to rewind now and listen from the beginning because we're close to the end now. Chef Sparky says Commissioner Pepe Diaz is vaccinated and yet suffering with corona. It's no fail safe. Chef Sparky, bro, listen, you want to fill that your head up with bullshit, okay? You can go ahead. 99% of the people that are dying are the ones not vaccinated. So yes, there's a 1%, but don't vaccinate yourself. And guess what? Your percentages go way up of dying and getting hospitalized. Please don't argue with this, okay? Go look at India and go look at Brazil. Ignorance, and they don't have the resources. And guess what? Thousands are dying every single day. Okay? So please, the math is super simple. Ignorance doesn't need to be a part of this. Neither do politics. Get your ass vaccinated. Nobody's trying to get into your body and track you and control you and all that. Give me an effing break, bro. We've had flu shots forever. We've had the measles shots. We've had polio. Vaccines are nothing new in this world. Okay? But if you want to listen to people that don't know what the hell they're talking about and they just want to create problems or they want to be ignorant, you can go ahead and do that, bro. But don't give me this 1% crap and point out one person that has it. You can catch it, but more often than not, you're not going to get hospitalized and you're not going to die. But if you don't have the vaccine, there's a way better chance of you dying or ending up on a ventilator, hospitalized, or ending up with things that will last forever. Okay? Because that's what's going on with people that get corona sometimes. They end up with certain things that they now have to carry for a long, long time. Who was it that I just saw was talking about their corona and they didn't get their taste back for a year? Go ahead. Don't get vaccinated. Go ahead and be silly and make it political. It's not political, man. This is called a pandemic, like polio, like all these other things that's happening over time. This is what we do. But go ahead. I'm still very careful around people, even though I got the shots. I'm with you, Raging. I get that. I still keep my distance and I still try to fist bump and all those kind of things. I am also careful. But I'm not going to go crazy wearing my mask all over the place anymore. No, dude. No, I go to Walgreens. I don't put on the damn mask. I go to Publix. I don't put on the mask. I mean, I'm not in a crowd, so I don't have to worry about it. But yeah, if I get in that situation where it's kind of gross and we're all in front, I'm all bunched up with people and I'm at a concert and everybody's screaming out, yeah, I probably will put on a mask for the hell of it. Just because it's gross, not because of COVID. just because it's gross. That's it. Be careful, but live freely, my man. Exactly. That's it. But you have to get both shots. Yeah, of course you have to get both shots. 96% effective. I'll take my 4% and not wear my mask most of the time. I'm with you, John. But plus, not only that, John, even if we do end up in the 4% or 1 percentile or 2 percentile, whatever it is, we're not going to get hospitalized and die. That's the key. That's what I feared. I feared dying. I feared being on a ventilator. That's what I feared. That's what I didn't want. Hell, early on, I put on gloves. You remember? You can go back and see some of the videos. I even put on gloves early on. Yeah, I followed all the rules, but I already vaccinated, bro. I'm fine now. So yeah, I'm not going to, not going to go overboard anymore. Long as you're not wearing your mask when you're driving alone, Big O. Yeah, no. Although, wait a minute, King Short, I thought about that because it is ridiculous, right? You're right. It looks ridiculous. But I was thinking about this. What if you're driving somebody else's car? That's why they put on the mask. So you're in somebody else's car or you're using a work truck that everybody else uses. And so you're wearing your mask because other people have been in that truck and breathing and all that crap. And so you wonder when you put on the AC, all that crap, is it going to come back? So that's where I've thought about the people that are alone in their cars. It does look silly. You're right. But I'm wondering, is that their car? Did they borrow it? Or is it a working car, working truck? Maybe that's why they're putting it on, because other people have been in it, so they want to protect themselves. That's the only thing I thought of. Well, because I'm like you. I was laughing, like, you're alone in your car and you're wearing your... Although I will say this, because we were wearing our masks all the time, come on, admit it. Weren't there a couple times that you got out of somewhere, you got in your car, and you forgot to take off your mask? And like 5 minutes while you're driving, you're like, damn, I still have my mask on, and then you take it off. Come on, tell me that didn't happen to you. So in those couple minutes while you still had your mask on and you didn't realize it, other people are looking at you going, what's that idiot wearing a mask for in a car by himself? So I might have been busted with that a couple times, because I will admit, bro, there were a couple times I walked out of somewhere with my mask on and I did not take it off until like 5, 10, 15 minutes into my ride. I'm like, damn, why do I have my mask on still? And it was just one of those things that it was so habitual that you just continued to keep it on, So I got to admit, it happened to me. How many of you will admit that you left your mask on? You didn't want to when you got in the car, but then you realized, like, damn it. Yeah. And you like took off the mask. Come on. It's got to happen to some of you. I can't be the only person that it happened to. It's got to happen to some of you out there. Ragin says, given the side effects I got with the vaccine, I'm convinced I would have been killed if I caught the live virus. I didn't get anything from the vaccine, but I didn't want to take a chance if I got the virus, dude. GP Trap says, yep, happened to me. There you go. Herman says, true, it happened to me too. Of course. I mean, we're all human, bro. It's normal. Those people you see driving with a mask, face shield, and gloves. Yeah. Again, now, if you're not vaccinated and you're driving somebody else's car or something, I can understand you wearing a mask. That's the only, but we don't know. We don't know if it's their car or not. We just don't know. So we just laugh at them. You know what I mean? But some of you have laughed at me because it happened to me a couple times already. Hasn't happened lately because I'm not wearing my mask at all. I mean, I literally get off now and I'll have a mask in my back pocket now. And they will have to tell me to wear the mask, because I don't know. There's a lot of places now you don't have to wear the mask. But if there's a place that says, hey, we need you to wear a mask, I'll follow the rules, man. I'm not going to be a dick. I'm not going to act like a jerk and, and it's not you're stopping my rights. And I'll wear the damn mask. That's fine. If I have to wear it to appease and follow the rules, I have no problem with that. But right now, yeah, I'm not. I'm trying to not wear my mask anymore. Okay, I'm vaccinated, bitch. That's it. I've gone through my hell already. I don't want to go. I don't want to wear it anymore. GP Trap says, I'm going to start wearing a helmet. If I wear a helmet, it'll be Dougie Fresh's helmet, the Devo helmet. And by the way, Ray, I'm sorry I did not mention your gold Darth Vader on here because I know you brought it up there. Thank you, Ray, as always. Ray has given us several gifts on the show. Appreciate all of you out there. You got Pfizer or Moderna, Big O? I got Pfizer. That's what I got. King Short says, don't wear your mask if you're going to inspect your ladies. Yeah, that would get in the way. Yes, that would get in the way. Never know what someone else is going through, Tommy and Hialeah. Yeah, you're right about that. You never know. You never know. By the way, did you guys see what happened with Lamar Odom and Tristan Thompson? I thought this was funny as hell. So Lamar Odom sees a Chloe pic. Okay. I mean, this whole triangle is just a mess. So Lamar Odom sees a Chloe pic and he likes it and tweets out hottie on it. So then Tristan Thompson gets pissed off about the whole situation. So you think about these two F-ups. Okay. Tristan Thompson bangs everything that moves. Lamar Odom smokes every crack rock and goes and finds other crack that isn't Chloe to go sleep with. He ends up in what was that, Bunny Ranch or whatever, with like 4 women, and ends up almost ODing and all that kind of stuff. So this is the guy that we're talking about. These are the people that Khloe Kardashian wants to get associated with, right? So here's how it goes. He put a thirsty comment on a Kardashian bikini pic on Instagram. It wasn't a shot at her baby daddy, Tristan Thompson. It was Lowe shooting a shot at his ex-wife. So sources tell Lamar tells TMZ he wants to rekindle what once he had with Chloe, and he thought Friday's comment on Chloe's IG post was a perfect time to get her attention, seeing as she's not with Tristan anymore. So as you know, Lamar left a hottie comment on Chloe's outdoor shower pic, which drew Tristan's ire and seemingly threatened response to Lamar. And he goes, by the way, Tristan goes, God brought you back the first time. Play if you want, different results. So we're told Lamar wasn't trying to be disrespectful. He just figured it was fine to shoot a shot because Chloe and TT are broke up again and new allegations that he was cheating. So Lamar and Chloe, remember, were married between 2009 and 2016. Sources say he thinks Tristan is fumbling the bag with Chloe. So Lamar is thinking that Tristan is fumbling. Like, really? Is this Brandon Marshall telling Vontae Davis how to act? Is that what we're talking about here? Anyway, so quite frankly, we're told LO wanted to see where his comment might lead to with the exes. So far, it hasn't led anywhere, they say. So I figured, right? We have this, right? We have these two idiots who are fighting over another idiot in Khloe, because I mean, Khloe Kardashian, she's as big as it gets. I mean, that woman can't pick a man if her life depended on it. If it did, she'd be dead already at this point, because all she does is pick F-ups, right? I mean, I think all those women, that's all they pick are F-ups, right? People that are just disasters. So I came up with an idea. We have celebrity boxing. Well, we have Tristan and Lamar fight, and the winner settles for Chloe. I'm not going to say gets Chloe because that's not like some great prize or anything like that, but you settle for Chloe, the winner. Why not? I mean, you got a bunch of idiots that buy boxing to see the what are those losers called? The brothers, what are they called, man? Oh, damn it. Now I'm forgetting those idiots. But anyway, the two brothers, they're watching Chad Johnson fight. They want to watch 58-year-old Holyfield fight. I mean, Riddick Bowe's ugly old ass at 53 wants to fight. And man, he looks like he's 63. Seriously. Tyson. People want, I mean, it's just, this is a joke nowadays. People want to watch all these clowns fight. So why not pit Lamar and Tristan Thompson against each other? Didn't Lamar just fought somebody in one of those stupid celebrity matches? I mean, you got enough people that are stupid enough to pay for it. Why not do it? Love it. Jake and Logan Paul. That's it. Thank you. The YouTube brothers. Thank you. They pay for that. Why won't they pay for this? Chloe can be like the ring girl, right? That's all. She comes out, round one. Two guys are inspired. I mean, you'll fill the arena up solely from all the Tristan Thompson women that are going to come to the fight. Although you might have to keep them all in one section and then put Chloe on the opposite side. Okay? I mean, that Amazon might crush a whole bunch of those women. You know what I'm saying? It would be an entertaining thing. You know, there you go. So the winner settles for Chloe. I think I'm onto something. I don't know about you guys, but I think I'm onto something. You've got the driving force right there. The winner gets Bruce Jenner. Okay. No, the loser gets Bruce Jenner. The winner gets Chloe. Let's do it that way. Only fight where the lower wins. Two simps fighting over a girl with more flags than a Chinese Communist parade. Oh, that is crazy. I love it. I love it. What else did I get into? What else do we have? I think we'll leave that to it. Oh, one more thing that I did want to get into, and it's a little music. Gene Simmons. I thought Gene Simmons I thought Gene Simmons showed his ignorance and also insensitive, disrespectful in his comments. So apparently they brought up the subject of women in rock. And so Gene Simmons ends up slamming basically women in rock. Amy Lee of Evanescence had nothing, didn't want anything to do with it because basically what Gene Simmons said, let me read it for you here. He says, he was talking about rock being dead, but in the same article, he talked about women in rock. He says, like a female rock band, a genre. They're making cool things, but, for the female genre, everything, that was like, women in rock are not a genre. Women in rock are rockers. They're musicians. Okay. That's the way I look at Heart. That's the way I looked at Joan Jett or Janis Joplin. And in today's world, in this moment, I think Maria Brink has got a fantastic voice. Her and Rob Halford did a duet that was awesome. It's on YouTube. I'm a huge Lizzie Hale fan from Hailstorm. Hailstorm for me is fantastic. I love Dorothy. There's a lot of women nowadays. I was just talking about Anita Strauss. Now she doesn't sing. She just flies through the frets. She's a fantastic guitarist. Amy Lee, Evanescence. I listen to Evanescence all the time. I love Evanescence. That's, they're not women in rock are not some kind of novelty, dude. That's kind of the way Gene Simmons talked about it. Like it's some novelty, like it's not as important. And that's a bunch of bullshit, dude. Women make some great music. Now, all those women that I talked about, I have all their music and I can listen to them every single day. I have no problem with that. Women in rock are not a genre. They are rock stars, period. Rock stars don't come in sex. It's not male. It's not just boys or men or whatever you want to call it. Okay. Rock stars are rock stars. And women easily are rock stars. And by the way, women can come up with some great music, historic music, Hall of Fame caliber music. They're just as qualified as anybody else to be called stars, to be called rock stars, not some kind of genre and throw it out there like it's a novelty. Oh, look how nice it is. The women are playing some instruments and music. And I just found that. And I said, Gene, it's, and I get it. You're old and maybe you don't listen to newer music nowadays. Hey, look, man, I'm picking myself with new music. There's a lot of new music that I think is flat out garbage. Okay, that's just the way it is. There's a bunch of rock bands that I don't like. Now, there are several new rock bands that I do like, and I think they're really good. I mean, Lizzie Hale, all you got to do is listen to that woman, okay? Voice, the lyrics, the music. She's fantastic. She's a monster. She's awesome. Just like Heart has been for decades now. Since I was a kid listening to Little Queen and Barracuda and, what Dreamboat Annie or whatever the hell they were coming up with back in the day. I mean, give me a break. To call it a genre, to kind of treat it like a novelty. I'm with Amy Lee on that one. Gene, I get it, bro. You're old, and I see it all the time with these old people that are financial advisors, but they've been playing stocks their whole life and they know nothing about crypto. So since they don't know anything about crypto, they just want to slam it because they're ignorant. And I get it, Gene. You don't really follow new music. So you don't really know about some of these newer bands, and you're not giving them a chance. And especially some of the women. I mean, Dorothy is fantastic, dude. Great blues rock, her music. Got only a couple of albums. She's new to the scene. She's awesome, man. Great talent. Amy Lee, Evanescence. Are you kidding me? She's a beast. So, Gene, I just, dude, you lost me on that one. I love Kiss, but I can't defend your ignorance and I can't defend your disrespect of women in rock. I just find that to be unacceptable. All right, folks, it is time to wrap it up here on the show. We appreciate all of you out there, as always, keeping it locked. Make sure to smash that like button if you're listening to the podcast. You can support us through Cash App at Cash Big O Show. Reach out to us on Twitter at Big O Show. Follow us there. Emails, Big O Radio Show at yahoo.com. That's Big O Radio Show at yahoo.com. Appreciate all of you out there. We will see you tomorrow. Same time, same place, same bat channel.